Tonight on the junk box, better light some candles and turn the lights down low because we're going to be reviewing this. It's the Jackhammer Sexbike 2. Alright guys, just to cover my tail, if any part of Tart's anatomy, like her tail, ends up being the thumbnail of this video for some weird reason, then here it is, guys, the thumbnail shot. Just so you guys don't write in the comments, hey, that thumbnail was not in the video, because really that's not fair to do. So there it is, nice and early. You don't have to wait to the whole video. There's the thumbnail shot. What's going on, everybody? Thomas XSL here with the Junk Box Tart, showing half her ass to everyone. And we're here to check out this fellow, the Jackhammer Sexbike 2. Don't ask me what happened to the Jackhammer Sexbike 1. I don't know. I just found this one on Marketplace, and I'm going to have a link in the description below. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to actually show you where I found it. And this is where I found it. I was looking under old style Second Life motorcycles, and I found this sex gadgets, BDSM, funny, and it's got gags, cuffs, poses, whatever, sold by Vixen Novelli Secrets. I'm gonna have a link in the description below about this. This is a $1 Linden item, over 100 items. Most of them are full perm. Some are no modify, just because the poses within the object is no modify, and the object itself is fully permissive, like the bike is full perm, which is what caught my eye. I swear that's it. The bike was the only thing that caught my eye on that. So this bike it's got some pretty interesting features, and we're just going to look at them real quickly. The engine looks pretty decent at a distance, and even up close it looks pretty good. It's got some clear spots because the textures used on the prims on this motor are actually several different motor textures side by side with a clear background or alpha background. So there's some clear spots, but you can, if you want to like use this motor, you can adjust it to use it. A lot of people probably wouldn't want to use like a hard prim motor, but you know me, I'm like the horseback street choppers. So the fork and the headlight texture are very bizarre. It looks like a kind of a door lock or trunk lid lock. Both of these sides of this sphere, they're actually two different. Let's see if I can get it right. Two different. So as you can see, each of the sides of the headlight are actually two different textures, and they're just merged into one. And when you pull back, it just looks funky. It looks like an eye or face or some crazy stuff. The tank is the only part that is sculpted on the bike, and it looks like it's some kind of torch, or maybe like a sculpted like fire or flame thing. It's got like some spikes. It doesn't really look like it was designed for a tank, but they used it for a tank anyways. The seat is like maybe like 65% of a cylinder. And as you can see, nothing's really snapped to grid. Everything's kind of like cattywampus on this bike. I don't know if this was built in haste, like they were just trying to hurry up and make something that would make some money or what. But and you can see here the rear tire is actually two tires. And if we go into edit, what's really weird is, there we go. One side is a Mercedes-Benz wheel, and then the other side is the same wheel, but with a cut up, like steely rim texture on both of them. So that's why they had to use two wheels. But I don't see why they didn't just make a copy of the front wheel and use it for the back wheel and just fatten it up a little bit. The fender's a Taurus. Yeah, the fender's a Taurus, which is about typical for what older, and even like nowadays, people still use those for fenders. They usually cut the inside half out. Let's see the front wheel. Let's look at that front wheel. The front wheel actually looks pretty decent. Front wheel has a decent texture. It has a valve stem detail on it, and the wheel itself is a Taurus, but they just didn't cut the inside part out, so it's the whole tube. For those of you who don't know, a Taurus is like a barrel shape, but you can change the inside diameter to make it like a wheel. But usually people will do a profile cut and cut the inside profile. This one's been left whole, and the textures aren't really matching up on either side, which usually they do if you just do that inside profile cut. So what do you do with a Jackhammer Sexbike, or any sex bike in general? Normally you could ride it, but this one is actually unrideable. So what you do is you just left click anywhere on the bike, because the love engine in this bike is actually inside the root trim. Oh, and I might have forgotten to mention it has one single exhaust pipe that just seems to stab through the fender and back tire. So it has cuddles, right click, left click. Sometimes it'll ask to animate your avatar, and you just say yes. We're going to get tart on the ball, literally. Alright. Yeah. Okay, I know we're not, yeah, I knew we're not lined up. Okay, how are we not falling off the bike? So that's kiss 1, kiss 2, that one's alright, I guess. Side. Okay, now these kind of poses here, like this side, I have them in my bikes, and usually I just have the people laying on the ground, not laying across the bike. That doesn't look very comfortable. Make out, yeah, that's not very. Oh, her head's in the gas tank. Her hair's gonna smell like all kinds of gas. Alright, I don't know if this was like their strategy, but it just seems kind of sloppy to me to just have every pose like on the bike. Like these poses, I mean, like look at that. My hand is going through the gas tank. That's not a proper pose. What's that? A proper pose position. Alright, I know anything's possible in virtual reality, but that's just, it's nice to have some realism, not just floating above the ground. Let's go cuddles 2. Now this has cuddles 1, cuddles 2, and then has sex set 1 and 2. So we're going to go to the second cuddle set. Where'd we go? Oh, it was a nice hug. Well, at least they didn't have the hug like on the bike. That would have been really weird. It says big kiss. And then it has a set of lovers poses, lovers 1, lovers 2, lovers 3. You may have seen like, I think it even goes up to like 16 and like 22. It's like couple poses you'll see in some of the older freebie stores. I don't know if people are still selling them, but now these are actually pretty decent poses to have in like the ACS scripted bike, as long as the animation doesn't lift you up, as long as the animation has been made where you can sit right on the ground. Yeah, these would be pretty interesting poses for the ACS scripts park poses. Oh, there's a pretty cool one. It's like you pulled over and you're like checking out the sunset. Or if you have this bike, you're looking down the road at somebody that actually has a vehicle that's moving that you can get a ride from. Lovers 4, lovers 5, that's nice. Lovers 6, it's just sitting out in space. Oh man, that's like a campfire sit. Or like waiting on, not even waiting on a bus because you would be on a bench. I don't know, just sitting cross-legged. And more laying on the bike off to the side, and levers 8, the last one. Oh, this one here actually looks like a really good motorcycle park pose. If you weren't 10 feet off to the left of the bike, that would be a perfect ACS script park, or yeah, ACS scripted park pose. Got a new mouse. I'm all zooming in on our butt. There we go. Yeah, if you were on the seat, that'd be perfect. Too bad we're not with this bike. You just have to adjust it. You can adjust all these poses on this bike, but I think it would be much cooler to rip the poses out, which you can just look on a note cards. Actually, if you wanted to know which pose to pull, you would just go into edit, content, and I think you would go into positions. Maybe not positions. Oh no, you would go into menu. My bad. Menu items. There you go. You just go into menu items, and then you just look for what pose you want. Like right now, we're in levers 8. Yeah, levers 8, and you just look up. Okay, MSL male, MSL female, 29 and 29, and you just come here. Well, you would open the bike. You would click open, and it would dump into your inventory. It would make a folder and dump all the contents, all this stuff into that folder. And then from there you could look it up. What was it? It was M. I gotta keep going down. There we go. And there's the poses we're at right now. MSL female 29, and I'm at MSL male 29 right there. So that's how you can figure out what pose is what, so you can take it and rip it out for your own vehicle. And I'm really curious as to what the sex poses. I bet they're about as ridiculous as the cuddle poses. I'm gonna cut. I don't want to show that. I'm gonna keep this video somewhat G-rated, so I'm gonna cut camera. I'm gonna do some of the sex poses to see just where they are on this bike, because I'm pretty sure they're just about as absurd as the cuddle poses, and we'll be right back. Alright, and we're back, and yep, just as I thought, the sex poses were just as absurdly placed as the cuddle poses. A few of them were in an alright spot, but most of them were just all over the place or off to the side, hovering in midair. So if you do end up getting this bike and you want to make something of it with the poses, you will have to do quite a bit of adjusting on the poses. So I'm going to hit stop, and the balls disappear. So I was messing around with this bike. Actually, Tart was messing around with this bike, and she cleaned it up. She gave it proper looking exhaust pipes with hard trim parts. So I gotta go somewhere else, because that bike is a little bit heavier than this bike. It's got more prims, a few more prims to it, and I don't know if it'll res on here. If it does, alright, but if it doesn't, we'll go somewhere else, and I'll show you what it looks like made with all the parts in line, aligned up, and looking somewhat decent, or what it could have looked like with a little more care in its building. So get a good look at the bike right now, and we're gonna skip ahead to my version of this bike, cleaned up, tweaked, and looking a little more sharp. And here's our Jackhammer Sexbike 2 with the minor adjustments, better headlight, well actually better textures for the chrome, the wheel texture adjusted a little bit, the Taurus for the wheels, you have their inside cut with their very, very nice looking chrome texture on the inside. The frame has been tweaked to look a little better. I've given this one some sculpted parts. adjusted the textures on the engine, redid the exhaust pipe, or the exhaust pipes I should say. I took the single one out, gave it dual, fixed the seat, everything snapped to grid, everything lines up. Got the same tank. It's got the same rear fender, but I did the inside cut. As you can see, it's not, oops. As you can see, it's not looped. It's just cut here to here. The inside of the fender is gone, so it's not going through the wheel. And the bike is looking somewhat decent, a little better than before. I made a couple of other frame parts chrome as well, so it looks a little neater than it did before, with just some minor tweaking. So if you like messing around with older Second Life vehicles, like I said, the description, here's a pod sneaking into the and like I said, if you like tweaking on old SL vehicles like that, links in the description below where you can get this bike. And this one, I think I still have the same. I don't know if I adjusted the pose balls on this one. I don't know if the poses are adjusted, but anyways, guys, that is the Jackhammer Sexbike 2 review, and also the kind of the tweaking of it. See, it looks much better with that fat back wheel instead of those ridiculous Mercedes-Benz tires that were on there before. And we give it a little tail light as well. Alright guys, if you want to use one of these poses in this bike for your own vehicle, like if you have the ACS grips and want to use some of the cuddle poses for the park poses, and you're wondering if the animation will be riding high or low, because remember we said that the animations have to be low enough that it doesn't raise the bike when you're taking the animation on the bike. What you would do is right click, hit open, wait for the contents to load. There's all the poses, copy the inventory. Now remember, this bike is full perm. On something that's not full perm, you will not be able to do this. Or if you are, you won't be able to transfer the poses to your own vehicle. So there is the folder. I'm going to actually drag this from recent items to these items. Drop that in there. Let's see. And then all you do is find the pose you want. Turn off your AO. We'll get rid of this bike. There we go. And all you need to do is you need to be standing on something solid, even a prim is fine. Find the pose that you want to check out. Double left click, it comes up, and hit playing world, and then see where your avatar sits. If your avatar is going through the ground, then that's good. You don't want to be you don't want to have your avatar being above the ground, at least too high, because then that means that when you sit on the bike with that animation in your machine, it's going to pick up the bike. But this animation, it's sitting low, which is just what we want. Yep. And you do that for whatever animation you want to check out. You just hit the animation and make sure that they're not up in the air. Even like this is a stand, and it's right along the edge of the ground, it looks like, or it's close to the ground. Yeah, it's right like on the ground, so that's fine as long as you're not like floating above the air. So that is how you test poses before you put them in your machine, and then find out later, oh, it's making the machine raise up, or making your bike raise up. I hope that's helped. Been a little helpful tip. That's how it's done. You see, that one is all, I think all these poses should be pretty much along the ground, or if not, they're lower than the ground. Alright, so that concludes the Jackhammer Sexbike 2 review and retweak. It's a bit of an odd review because it is a very old bike. I don't know if many people even know about it, let alone might remember it from back, I'm guessing 2007 or so is probably when it came out, because it did have a sculpted tank. But anyways, guys, that is it. Have fun tweaking. Let me know how yours came out, if you decided to venture into that jackhammer bike and fix it up or whatever. There's plenty of other toys there too to mess with in that package, but I'm not going to go over those right now. I'm going to keep this video somewhat G-rated, like I said. So until the next video, guys, have a good one. Take care.
That's grade A, top choice meat.